Hey y'all! If you recall, we were supposed to have the first ever live Reddit AMA back on September 3rd. However, there were some issues that prevented that from happening the way they originally wanted, but Kjun promised he'd be answering the questions that were posted by all the players regardless. Well, this video will be covering part 1 of those answered questions, and it's gonna be a long video. I'll put some timestamps, don't worry, but I wanted to capture every single question and answer to the full extent. And it's pretty exciting. We're getting another city, y'all. That's right, that thumbnail was not clickbait. Anyway, before we get started, just a quick friendly reminder to hit the like button so this video reaches more friends. Make sure to subscribe if you love inZOI news, updates, and gameplay, and consider following me on Twitch. I live stream every week, and I love chatting with every single one of you. We have an awesome and super friendly community, and everyone is welcome. And with that, let's dive right in because it's a lot to cover. So we'll dive straight into the questions. First one. What can we expect within the next 6 months for inZOI? What's currently being improved or worked on? Will there be a new roadmap for us to get excited for? And to summarize Kjun's response, he said that over the last 6 months, they've been finalizing their development plans and they'll be sharing a roadmap soon. However, they wanted to emphasize that they're going to be doing things differently now. And I've mentioned this before, instead of developing in a one-way manner, essentially telling us what they're going to do, they want to shape the direction of the game together with us, the players. And they're going to do that by continuing to check in with us along the way and asking us a ton of questions and for our feedback. And again, they've received a ton of comments and feedback from the players that they prefer the devs to focus on getting the fundamentals down first rather than adding new features. So that's what they're moving forward with. Kjun said they are deepening the density of existing content rather than expanding outward. Some examples he gave us: they're working on improving aspects related to psychology, such as moods and temperaments, and making interactions feel more lifelike so that Zois behave more like real people. They're also enhancing systems around ghosts, death, and general interactions. Additionally, they're also considering reducing the length of a day to about 1/3 of what it is now. Of course, that would mean if your Zoi walked to work, they'd end up late. So they're exploring options like a teleport to work feature, and they're looking for our feedback again. I have a whole video on this topic, so definitely check that out and provide feedback so the devs know exactly what we want. And so here's a really cool bit of news. Kjun mentioned they're planning to add an additional small city in December. I know, they said they wouldn't add more cities, for now anyways, and just expand on the existing content, but I think this is something that must have already been in development and they're using it as a bit of a test. They want to see how it's going to run on lower spec PCs. I think this is awesome. This way, lower spec PC players will have access to a city without any issues, potentially anyway. To quote Kjun himself, he said, even if it comes with some loading, it will allow smoother play on lower end PCs. This is another area where your feedback will be really valuable. So I'm so excited for another city. So guys, let's move on to the next question here. Will there be a feature to create Zoi groups with club rules where multiple Zois can do activities like sit at bar and have drinks, bowl together, or shoot pool together? So Kjun admitted this has been a recurring request, and he also believes it's a necessary feature. I actually also asked for something like this. Right now, your Zoi does everything solo. With Chahaya, I really wanted to take friends on a boat ride with me, but there's no way to do that unless they're in your household and you have like direct control over them. In any case, Kjun has apologized for the delay, but says they're now actively working on this. He said, the inZOI team may not get it perfect on the first try, but through continuous updates, we'll do our best to shape it into a feature you'll really enjoy. Right now, our main focus is on developing group interactions along with multitasking. We're aiming to release an update in December, even if it may not be perfect. Yes, I'm so excited for December. Guys, December is gonna be a banger. There's so much cool stuff coming in December. And I also wanted to include this little bit that Kjun said, because man, guys, we must protect this man. He said, "Whenever I read your feedback, I feel sorry for keeping you waiting. Please hang in there a little longer. We're working hard to bring this to you as soon as possible." I can wait. I can definitely wait. We're already halfway through September. It's insane how fast time flies by, guys. We're like, December's right around the corner, I promise you. Okay, next question. Will we see any improvements to inZOI's camera for cinematics? It'd be awesome to have an official tool where we can set and edit camera paths, so we could create smooth cinematic shots and even do stop motion style builds. Oh, I love this question. I really would love that cinematic smooth camera shot where you preset the camera path. So let's hear Kjun's response on this one. He said, "This was actually part of our early planning, but it was pushed back in priority and hasn't been developed yet. I completely agree that it's an essential feature. I'll be discussing this with the team in charge next week. It's unlikely that we'll be able to include it in the October update, but I'll be working with the team to see if it can be added for the December update." Awesome. I'm so excited for this one too. And this is just me speaking for myself and not the dev team. He's throwing some target dates out there because he knows we want some kind of time frame for when we're expecting these features. But remember, they're just time frames. So please don't get too worked up or upset if they don't meet the time frame, since so many things like bugs or unexpected difficulties can pop up in any project. But at least we know they're working on it and it's coming real soon. All right, next question. Longer interactions. Interactions and animations are short with bowling and other things. Are you working on having longer interactions with games and also playing with other Zois in group settings? Will multitasking groups be fixed before end of year? And are more group activities on the way, particularly those that last more than 5 seconds? In general, the animations are way too short. Preach! I 100% agree. So Kjun's response. We're currently working on group interactions and multitasking, which are being developed in stages, some for the October update and more for December. That said, it won't be possible to add a large number of new interactions all at once, but we'll continue expanding them over time to improve this area. For activities like bowling and pool, we've been researching how to apply physics so that gameplay models can actually change. That's why the current versions use simpler motions. I can't promise yet whether we'll succeed with the physics-based approach, but please note that the inZOI team is working hard to make these improvements happen. It may be difficult to achieve everything perfectly in a short period, but we'll keep pushing forward with full efforts. Thank you so much for sharing your feedback. It really helps guide us. That is so cool. I love that he mentioned specifically for bowling and pool that they're looking to get gameplay that will vary. So it's not the exact same animation every time, which wouldn't be realistic. And using physics, that is so cool. Using actual physics-based modeling will make it so much more realistic. Like in Yakuza 0, you can play pool and actually have to hit the ball at the right angles, like you would in real life, to get the result you want. I have no idea if they're taking it to that level when he says physics-based, but it sounds like he's really going into that realism aspect there. But like he said, it might not work out and they might need a different approach. We'll see. But I love to hear that they're working on it right now. So many players have stated how simple the bowling and pool is right now, and all this time, they've been working to improve it behind the scenes, and we just didn't know it. So that's really cool how they interact with us so much through AMAs like this, for example, or Kjun's brainstorming sessions, so they can communicate this to us, and it helps relieve whatever dissatisfaction we might have at the time by knowing that they're actually working on improving it. Anyway, next question. Will there be any improvements with interactions with Zois at different life stages, especially with infants and toddlers? And this question had also posted some examples at each life stage, like infants breastfeeding, burping them, using car seats for traveling, or for toddlers feeding them in a high chair, potty training, etc. So Kjun's response: coincidentally, we are planning to improve this area in the October update, but it will be difficult to implement all the interactions you listed within that update. For example, some of the more complex actions, such as those involving infants sitting down, may not be ready by October. They are still already on our development list, and we will make sure to add them before December. Your questions make us very happy because it shows that the improvements you are hoping for align closely with the direction the team is aiming for. Please continue to share your thoughts with us. We truly appreciate it. I am so thrilled for more baby-centric improvements. That's really gonna have me dive back into family gameplay for sure. I started out with more family gameplay, but recently I've been enjoying focusing on single Zois, having them meet their partner, and then just having them live that young, child-free lifestyle for now. But I can't wait for these improvements to babies. I still want to see more activities though for children, like after school clubs, school projects, that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm sure we'll get all of that eventually though. So next question. All the NPCs seem very generic and don't have particular likes, hobbies, or personalities. They're all the same. A major complaint about the game is that it's lifeless or that it's simply a dollhouse simulator. I think putting more care into each individual NPC and giving them a story, a family, and lore will fix this. Will this be addressed in the future, or will there just be more and more DLC added? Kjun's direct response was, the DLCs we've released so far were necessary updates for us to practice and refine the technical aspects of development. And I want to add here, again, there's been a lot of back and forth as to, for example, Chahaya, whether or not that was a DLC. Guys, it was a DLC. And yeah, it was free, but it was a way for them to practice how to package something of that large of an update into what they plan to have as DLCs in the future for once the game is like officially released, and they'll probably be charging for those DLCs. So again, it was just a way for their team to practice how to handle DLCs, what it's gonna look like, and yeah, and just getting our feedback on it. So moving on. So going back to Kjun's response, now that those tests are complete, i.e. the DLCs, our focus is shifting away from simple content expansion and toward more in-depth improvements to existing content. In particular, we are continuing updates related to psychology, such as preferences, temperaments, and expectations, and using these to make Zois feel more distinctive and unique. Right now, we're working on improving expectations and giving temperaments more distinct traits so that each Zoi develops a stronger personality. As for your suggestion, we also plan to add more individuality to NPCs by giving them personal stories and family backgrounds. This way, players will meet characters who feel far more unique and alive. Oh my gosh, I wanted this so much. I'm so glad they're going to give NPCs more depth and an actual background to start with. Even before the game was released, Kjun has said in an interview that every single Zoi in the city would have a story. So I'm so glad to hear that this is heading in the right direction again. And us inZOI partners have been giving the devs some suggestions for lore in the game as well. I won't go into details, but they said they'd share it back with the team. I really want iconic characters in the game. I know many hate when we bring up The Sims for whatever reason, but I'm not competing the two games, guys. I love them both individually, and they're so different from one another. And I think we can agree that The Sims did a really great job at making some truly iconic characters, like the pancakes, the land grabs, or the goths. I would love to see some main characters show up in inZOI, like this guy here, or this groovy dude over here, or of course our princess here, the main face of the game. So we'll see what comes of it. Alright, moving on. Will we be getting holiday or seasonal updates for Halloween and Christmas? I would love to see holiday decor. And to summarize Kjun's response, they are prepping for it right now, so we will be getting Halloween themed content in October. He did caution to not expect too much for this year's Halloween since they have such a short amount of time to prepare for it, but he said they'll be doing their best, but regardless, we are going to be getting some content, so that's cool. Next question. Is there a way to increase the number of Zois visiting and actively enjoying the resort's pools and beaches? Would you consider adding more NPCs dancing and partying around the resort to help create a livelier, more immersive vibe? Could we see more NPCs swimming and socializing to boost realism and immersion? Oh, I love this question. And I'll read Kjun's direct response. We'll be working on adding this in an upcoming update. The issue came up because due to optimization challenges, we had to reduce the number of NPCs used in the background. Going forward, we'll add more NPCs for these kinds of scenes as long as it doesn't cause major performance issues. I'd also like to share an idea. What if we reduce the size of the city in a new map and instead increase the number of Zois so the world feels much more alive? Of course, the current city would remain as it is, but a new city would be built with this approach. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Ooh, I have mixed feelings on this one. I guess it depends on how much smaller we're talking, right? I love the huge maps, but yes, as beautiful as they are, the scenery, the environment, yeah, they do feel empty of actual Zois living in them. So if December's small city is an experiment for that, I guess we'll have to see how small is small. I just want the ability, honestly, to use the slider to crank up the population if my PC can handle it. I've already set mine to max population, and honestly, I don't see a difference. And of course, the question wasn't just about population size, but also asking about Zoi's engaging in normal activities, like hanging out at the beach, swimming, maybe playing volleyball, sunbathing, that sort of thing. We don't see this right now, and I think we desperately need it. So yeah, it's not just about the population size, but yeah, we'll have to see how small these new city maps are gonna be, because again, I'm not sure I want a smaller city, but maybe if it feels like super lively, you know, we won't even notice that it's smaller. Anyway, next question. We are almost done here. Can we get parked cars back? Cars don't park outside now, and that feature was so nice for realism, and we were able to interact more with cars that way, like opening the trunk, getting in the car door that we pick, washing the car, taking pictures, etc. And it would be nice if cars didn't disappear right away when we exited, when we take it into the world. At least could it linger for a minute in case we want to interact with it again? And could we get more car colors and a car color wheel? And just to add, if you guys are new to the game, we used to have the ability to park the car like outside the house and then get out of the car. You could open the trunk, you could wash the car, and yeah, you could choose any door to enter the car. And we don't have that now, the car just disappears. So Kjun's response, the change happened because cars are now tied individually to each player, which unfortunately removed the parked car feature. I completely understand the need for this, and while it's not something we can solve quickly, we'll continue reviewing it and discuss possible solutions with the parking development team. As for keeping the car in the world a little longer after exiting, adding a simple delay might be possible, but there are concerns about potential issues that could arise if interactions with the car are still happening during that time. It's something that requires further discussion, even if implemented in a limited form. Regarding car colors and a color wheel, we'll also be discussing internally how this could be added. For now though, please understand that our main priority is improving inZOI's overall core simulation, so these features might take a bit longer. So that makes sense to me that this would be lower on the priority list. I can definitely wait on this one. But yeah, I didn't make that connection that this was actually tied to when we were given the ability for each household member to have their own car. So that's interesting to know. Alrighty then, last question for now. Will we see any kind of improvements to romance in general? Things like cuddling on the sofa, bed, different sleeping animations, instead of being always separate, and more ways of interacting with one another. And Kjun's response? Just like we added new chair sitting motions in the August build. Oh my gosh, I love that they added this, by the way. I'll put some examples here on the screen for you. We'll also be adding more animations for things like sleeping and cuddling in the October update. Fortunately, since we're still preparing the development plan, it's possible to include these improvements. We'll make sure to increase the variety of interaction motions. Thank you for the great suggestion. I love that so much. That's gonna be so cute. I can't wait to see those interactions. Alright guys, that's all the questions answered for now, but they intend to answer more. Here's Kjun's final thoughts. He said, "Thank you all once again for your time and submitting such thoughtful questions. Stay tuned for more Q&A posts as we will be doing our best to answer more of your questions from the Reddit AMA. Kjun, producer and director of inZOI." Well, that was a long video, friends. I hope you stuck around to the end. I really wanted to cover every question and answer thoroughly since Kjun took the time to provide those answers. So I really appreciate you guys sticking around. So whenever part 2 gets posted, I'll include another video to cover them. So definitely subscribe, hit the like button so this video can reach more friends, and I will see you in the next one. Love you guys so much. Please stay happy, stay safe, and as always, enjoy!